Hello everyone and welcome back to Just Finish Coding. In this new series, you'll be learning how to make a two-player tic-tac-toe game using Scratch 3. Now that was a quick and short preview and it's time to get right into our code. Alright, so before you start to get into the code, it's very important for you to download this particular file from the link in the description below. And this basically gives you all the costumes and all the sizes pretty much inserted correctly, and this will help you save a whole lot of time in your coding process. The link will basically take you to a Google Drive attachment, and once you're there you can download this particular file called start. I'm going to rename it part 1 because, well, this is part 1 of the game. And now let's start coding. So now we can go to the stage first, and it's time to do a bunch of variable initialization. So all of the variables which we're making from the stage are going to be by default global. And in order to make sure that I can read them from other sprites and I know easily without checking which variable is global and which variable is local, or if you want to call it public and private, whatever, I'm going to use uppercase and lowercase for each of those things. So let's start with the variables. First I'll need a counter. I'm going to call it C. Then I'll call this game on, followed by a question mark because this is going to be a Boolean variable. Next I'm going to have another variable or another Boolean variable called is board full, followed by a question mark once again. Then I'm going to have a new variable called square dim, in short form for square dimension. Next I'm going to have a variable called turn, signifying which player's turn it currently is. And finally I'll have a variable called winner, which would store who won the game at that point. So now I can hide all of those variables and make two more lists. So the first list is called winners, and I'm going to do this in caps once again. So winners. And the second list is called board. So winners is going to store all the possible ways through which a player can win, and board is going to store what is currently made up on the 3x3 board. So now let's start to get into the actual code. So I'm going to have a when green flag is clicked here, and in order to make sure everything goes on in a game tick sort of fashion, what I'll do is I will grab two of these broadcasts and I will say broadcast init for initializing everything. So let's broadcast init, and after that I will broadcast, not broadcast and wait, but broadcast start game. So new message, start game. So before we do this, there are a bunch of setups that we need to do. So first what I'll do is switch background to, not wait, but just to switch background to game. And after this I will make a new block. I'll call this set up and I will run without screen refresh. And this is basically all the variables and all the miscellaneous setup that we're going to do. And we'll start this right now itself. So first we can start by deleting delete all of board, and next I will make sure that the board list is empty but it has 9 elements. So repeat 9, and in this case all I will do is I will add space to board. So there is a space here, just mind you, just make sure you add that in. Now we can get into setting up the variables. So let's first set winner. So set winner to null because no one has won the game at that particular point at the start of the game. Next we can set game on to yes. So set game on to yes. I'm going to duplicate these two things now. So we'll set turn to X, and we will set finally square dimension or square dim to 75. There we go. That's pretty much all we need as of now. You can also probably set board full, is board full to no. So let's grab and set is board full to no. Alright, that should work out. And now we can get into the winners list. So first we'll start this off by deleting all of winners. Okay, so delete all of winners. Then we need to add a couple of things. So let's imagine a 3x3 grid where you have all these squares, and the top left is 1. Then you have 2 on its right, then 3, and then below that you have 4, 5, 6, and finally below that you have 7, 8, and 9. So that is our board, and we need to think of every way through which a player can win. So for example, if there's an X on 1, 2, and 3, then it means x1. If there's an x on 1, 4 and 7, it means the x1. Basically just like this board, but you have each of these numbered in the form of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9. So let's do each of those things. So we can grab and add, and here you will do it in the form 1, 2, 3. Next we can duplicate this and we can say 4, 5, 6. We can duplicate this again, and now we can say 7, 8, 9. Now we can duplicate all of these three things and we can say 1, 4, 7. Next we can say 2, 5, 8. And we can say 3, 6, 9 here. Finally, we can duplicate this 2 more times and we have the diagonal things. Okay, so we'll have 1, 5 and 9, and here we will have 3, 5 and 7. Okay, so now that we're done with this, we can make a couple of new functions, and this video is pretty much going to be all of these, I know what to say, back-end stuff, I guess. And we'll have all the functions that we'll evaluate after the player makes the particular move. We won't actually see any visible output yet, but all of this is going to be crucial to making sure that the game works perfectly. So let's run without screen refresh. I'm going to call this check winner, and I will be entering an input called player. Alright, let's say OK, and we can set this up right here. Okay, it doesn't really make a difference. So first, let's start by setting that counter to 1. So set C to 1. After this, we can get into a repeat. So there are 8 kinds of ways in which we can win. So repeat 8, and each one of these times we're going to have an if-then condition checking, and after that we will change C by 1. Okay. So within these conditions, it's going to be slightly complicated, and because it's going to be pretty long, I'm going to drag this down. Okay, otherwise it's going to start overlapping on code and we'll have to do moving after we have fat code, and that's really not good. So you need to grab a couple of ORs, put 3 of them like this, and actually not an OR, okay, my mistake. You need an AND. All these 3 conditions need to be true. So first, what we're checking is we need an equal to, and we need an equal to player. So player is going to be either X or O, whatever we enter in at that point in time. It's going to be the turn variable basically, but we'll have player like this, okay? And within this, within this first part of the statement, what we will do is we will grab this block which says item of board, and then we will grab another item of board. Okay, now the second one you can change it to item of winners, and you can say item C of winners. Next you can go to operators and grab a letter 1 of, and put this entire item C of winners into that, and then what you can do is put all of this within that item of board. Now this may not make sense to you, but just hold on, it surely will. And now we can duplicate this entire thing and put it for these 2 things as well. So let me drag and drop. You can change this to letter 3. Then finally, you can change this to letter 2. So drop all of those 3 guys in. And if this is the case, then it means that someone has won. So we can set winner to the, set winner to the player. So just drop that player variable right there. So now what's going on here? So basically our winners list, after we press the green flag, is going to have a whole bunch of things in it. So let me check. Okay, what is going on? Alright, I didn't have setup yet, I believe. I didn't say setup. Okay, I did. I'm not entirely sure why nothing is happening in winners, and I guess it's because I added stuff in board. Okay, so that was the problem. So let me change all of these to winners, and you probably need to do this. I should have figured out when I was doing it. I guess I was so distracted that I did. So change all this to winners, then hit the green flag, and you should see that a whole bunch of stuff pops in here. So let's just take the first case. Let's just go through C is equal to 1, which corresponds to the element of winners. And if C is equal to 1, then the particular item that we need to be focused on is 1, 2 and 3. So what this is going to do is item C of winners is going to be 1, 2 and 3, and we're taking letter 1 of that. So it's going to be 1, and our board is basically going to be in the format, X, O, blank, blank, just the way our board is set up. And the chronological order is going to determine where exactly the square is. So for example, item 1 of board is going to contain what is there in square number 1, which is this guy. item 2 is going to contain what's in this guy, okay, so on. And if we just take this part of our code, we'll get 1. And if we take that item off board, then we will get what is there on square 1. Now remember that we're checking if it's equal to player, and the player is going to be either X or O. So if we take letter 1 and letter 2 and letter 3 of this, and then we check if all of them in the board list are either X or O, then it means that some player has actually finished, the game, and he is won. And that's why we set winner to player, and that's why this function would work the way we intend it to. Alright, so now let's get into the next function. So let me call this block is board full, and it pretty much checks if the board is full. I'll even leave a boolean, I'll even leave a question mark because hey, why not? So now let's run this without screen refresh, click OK, and you can drag this on the right, okay, so there's a lot of space here that we haven't used. So let us drag it here. There we go. So within this, first what we'll do is we'll set up a negative. So we'll say set is board full to yes. And most of the time is board full is going to be no, but you'll see the way we're going to do this. Now we can reuse that same counter, so we can set C to 1. And after this, we will get into a repeat 9. So repeat 9 times. And remember, 9 is the number of elements in the board list. So repeat 9 times, and each and every time we're going to check if item C of board, and we can actually duplicate this here. So duplicate and drag this up. So drag this here, we can toss this and do it like this. So if item C of board is equal to, and here we can just put a space bar to signify that it is blank. So if item C of board is equal to blank, then all we do is set is board full to no, and is board full is mostly going to be set to no, because this condition is almost never going to be true until the board is basically filled up. And obviously we need to change C by 1, otherwise it's just going to check the first element of board, and in the first move, if the player doesn't play 1, then the board is pretty much going to be full all the time. So we need to make sure we change C by 1. And last but not the least, we can get into the final function, which I call endgame. So let me create a new block, add an input called player, and let me rename this called endgame. Now please make sure you do not click on run without screen refresh, otherwise you'll start to get some bugs. But basically we have a defined endgame. Here what we'll do is head over to events, say broadcast, and here what you need to type in is broadcast hide all and wait. So this is where the game is over and we hide everything that exists, okay, on the screen, just making sure that we have the end screen set up. And we will just switch the backdrop to, so switch backdrop to, and you can throw in player right there. So if you've not noticed, there are a couple of backgrounds. So we have the main game, which is this, then we have X, then we have X wins, then we have O wins, and we have a tie game. So based on what we enter in, we just switch the background to that particular thing. I'm going to end this video here. This wasn't particularly eventful, but in the next video we'll start to get into the little more exciting things where we can click on squares, see some output, and so on. If you've enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like, and also don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.